I welcome it. I love it. Excited about it. But there's a lot of people on the outside too. Not only with, I mean, definitely within. Like there's a significant amount of people that are like, why is Conor McGregor here? And there's just as much surprise or more surprise on the outside looking in, saying, how is Conor McGregor anyhow, even closely associated with BYU or the LDS faith in any way?
This is gonna be the best day ever. This is gonna be the best day ever. Wake up.
I think the more that they seek that unadulterated, they have that truth-seeking mentality. They're going to have some great conversations with some great people, and they're going to come to truth and be like, wow, that Latter-day Saint faith is a good faith. Two owners brought him to the BYU game. This isn't your traditional parents, grandparents BYU anymore, Carden.
All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Ward Radio. I'm your host, Carden Ellis. Today, I'm joined in the studio by Brittany the Shadow, as well as via Zoom by none other than Ben Criddle, our boy from ESPN Sports in Salt Lake City? Or where are you from?
Yeah, we're in Salt Lake, Utah County, Weber, Davis County. We're everywhere now, baby.
Okay, rock on. Excellent. And we're going to be talking about this magical happening. I see Sports Illustrated even wrote about it. But Conor McGregor was at a BYU game leading the chants about BYU, about the Cougars, saying go Cougs, the whole 9 yards. And the internet is erupting with what I believe is one of the wildest, most unexpected sports collaborations I've ever seen in my life. Why on earth am I looking at video, Ben Criddle, of Conor McGregor leading chants in the tightest pants and shirts I've ever seen in my life? So I decided I'd bring Mormonism's own Conor McGregor here, Ben Criddle, you, clean-shaven Conor McGregor, to tell us what's going on, dog. What's going on, man?
I guess I gotta, renew my jujitsu classes and get back in MMA from my childhood. Look, I mean, this isn't your traditional parents, grandparents BYU anymore, Carden. Even when you and I were there, I mean, the notification of BYU was very much alive and well. I don't know, how we survived it, how we got a good enough GPA to graduate from BYU, but it's a new era of BYU. And I think just as like a social commentary, I feel like, I don't know if you've kept track of things that are going on over the last 4 or 5 years, or even the most recent news, but I mean, BYU basketball is signed the number one recruit in the United States of America, in the world. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be after this next season when he plays for BYU, he'll be the number one draft pick, most likely in the NBA draft. He'll be the number one. He's the number one prospect. So
wait, but it's BYU. We always sucked at recruiting, and we just waited for Mormon parents to have children and hope that their social stigma would send them to the Lord's University and all that other BS. We're actually doing our jobs now.
Yeah, all I know is there's a lot of, I think there's a number of things that are attracting people to Provo, including, I guess, Conor McGregor. Socioeconomic success in the tech world. I think in this particular case, just so you know, bucked up local company that has seen accelerated growth. They've been a sponsor of our show for a long time, and they apparently reach out to Conor. I don't have all the details as to the brand ambassadorship, but he's a part of the Bucked Up family now. And so the two owners brought him to the BYU game. They were also at the Jazz game the night before, I believe, or maybe 2 nights before. And they've been, I think, shooting, doing video and, digital social media content and collaboration, I think, over at their facility over the last week or so. And they decided to take in a BYU game. The owners, the founders, two brothers, are obviously big BYU fans. And so they brought Conor. And I think Conor had a great time. I mean,
Dude, look at this guy. He's having like the time of his life, man.
Okay, hold on.
Dude,
Pause.
Hey, I'll say this much. I don't know if if you've heard Tom Brady. He's been quoted as "I love my Mormons" because he has his nutritionist, his massage therapist, his essentially the godfather to his children is a Latter-day Saint. He's a Mormon. So hey, this is just one of the many things. Conor McGregor maybe likes his Mormons now too. He's hanging out with us, having a good time.
Wow.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Pardon my ignorance, but for those of us that are not males, who is Conor McGregor?
Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter.
So it's like boxing, right?
It's like boxing, but with your feet. You know, how would you describe UFC? It's had a long evolution. Originally, Ultimate Fighting Championship was like a fight in the early 2000s to figure out which one of the martial arts was the most effective and lethal. So like a sumo guy wrestled, a boxing guy wrestled, a kickboxer wrestled, a karate guy, whatever. And it kind of had this dramatic one step above WWE beginning, but it slowly evolved into this like art form that is 1/3 kickboxing, 1/3 jujitsu, 1/3 death match in an octagonal cage, and it's divided into weight classes just like boxing, and it's jet fueled testosterone mixed.
Sounds really lame.
Thanks for adding to the vibe, babe. Thank you very much. Well,
I'm sure he's a cool guy, but boxing.
It's almost as dramatic and fun and entertaining as the Mormon Housewives show. Almost.
Okay, that's that I can get behind.
Except it's a little bit more violent. So imagine Mormon Housewives, but like they're wrestling and fighting and utilizing mixed martial arts.
Let me
like
put
episode 5. Yeah.
Yes. This is like Highlander mixed with
Highlander.
Desperate. That show you liked.
You mean Outlander?
Outlander. Okay, this is like
Don't
Outlander.
out me on WardRadio for watching Outlander. Gosh.
Okay, fine. So anyway, Conor McGregor shows up and he's loving life, and you say that this is kind of a thing now.
Well, Ryan Gardner, Jeff Gardner are the owners. They're the managing partners, and so I mean, let's be honest. Conor is probably in the twilight of his career. I don't think he's his future in the octagon is a little bit in question. Is he going to come back? What weight class will he be in? He's getting old. He's had a number of injuries, but he's still very much a prominent figure and face of mixed martial arts. And furthermore, I'd say he's probably the most internationally known and popular mixed martial artist, even to this day, even though he hasn't fought in a while. So. But that being said, I'm sure I don't know how they got connected. I'm still vetting all my sources, and I know Ryan and Jeff, and I've reached out to them. We're going to get an interview with them set up either this week or next week to get all the details as to how they developed a friendship and a partnership and where that's going. Is it long-term, short-term, what have you? But I think the coolest thing in all this is, and I had a lot of people reach out to me like, hey, why would BYU, there's controversy surrounding Conor McGregor. You look at Conor McGregor, his personality, who he is maybe, and you think that's the antithesis, his personality, who he is, it's his character or whatever. It's the antithesis of what BYU and maybe even the LDS faith represents.
But that's just niceness culture garbage.
Well, what I would say in rebuttal to that is like, guys, like how important is it? Like, how important is it to engage with people of different faiths, different perspectives, different ways of life, different ways of thinking? Like, it's incredible to introduce someone to our culture, and probably, I mean, look, he was very popular. Everyone, I think, knows who he is, or I'm sure there were some people that didn't know Conor McGregor, but
Brittany the Shadow.
Cool. What an overzealous fan. That sounds awesome.
What I mean? But like, and how great is it also to interact with Conor McGregor, maybe get to know him? I think there's going to be a synergistic enriching experience here. There's people there at BYU or within the LDS faith. They're like, oh my gosh, like who's Conor McGregor? They start looking him up. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy's a very unique individual. And I mean, who knows, right? You don't know where these relationships go and how impactful they can be on both sides and how enriching they can be on both sides. So, I have for an example, like I have a good, close personal friend that has been in the media. He was in the National Football League for a long time, and his name was kind of had for like good and somewhat controversy, right? And depending on who you chatted with, but I know him as an awesome man, and he's done a lot of good. And we go back a long way, going back to like Little League baseball. And so I see the good in him, and we have a great relationship. And I've brought him to BYU, let him toured the facilities, and it's a good synergistic relationship. And he loves BYU now. Every time, BYU's on, he's texting me, talking to me. I mean, he's a Pro Bowl. He's one of the best offensive linemen, Richie Incognito, that has ever come through, the National Football League, in my opinion. And he's a fan of BYU because of our relationship. Now Conor McGregor is going to be a fan of BYU. And you just don't know where it's going to go. You don't know what type of synergistic, like, enriching experiences can come from this. So I welcome it. I love it. Excited about it. But there's a lot of people on the outside too. Not only definitely within. Like there's a significant amount of people that are like, why is Conor McGregor here? And there's just as much surprise or more surprise on the outside looking in, saying, how is Conor McGregor anyhow, even closely associated with BYU or the LDS faith in any way?
Can I show you one headline just to literally give validation to what you're talking about? My favorite headline, it's on the screen right now. You can't see it, but it's from sportsskita.com. Don't know if you ever heard about it, but it's called sportsskita.com. And it says, was this court-ordered community service? ? College hoops fans astonished after Conor McGregor's appearance at BYU versus Baylor game. And then it's got a big picture of Conor McGregor with his cauliflower ear and a Nike BYU shirt on, similar to your Royal Army merch that we're going to have to pub before we go.
WardRadio.com. I know. I see you repping it every now and again.
Yeah, dude, for real. So, so you got people literally asking, is this court-ordered community service?
I'm sure, I mean, I'm sure Barstool picked it up. I'm sure ESPN has picked it up. I mean, he's got one of the biggest followings as a sports figure. I mean, he's a massive personality. And, I think the absurdity of it all and just how astonished everyone is makes it just all the better. Because like I said, internally, I think everyone's surprised. Externally, everyone's surprised. We had really no idea that Bucked Up was in tandem with Conor McGregor. But as I mentioned, I think in the twilight of his career, he's kind of like thinking, okay, well, who can I associate with? What brands can I align myself with? And Bucked Up is a very fast growing company here in the state of Utah, and they've seen a lot of success. And obviously, they love MMA, they love the UFC, they're very passionate about it, and they love Conor. And so I appreciate the Garner brothers in doing this, because it's been kind of a crazy last 24 hours if we've tried to digest what just happened in Provo at the Marriott Center. It used to be Jimmer Mania that got everybody hyped. Now it's Conor McGregor and Kevin Young.
So I do have a question for you. You mentioned earlier that Tom Brady says, "Oh, I love my Mormons." And
you can Google that. Just type in Tom Brady. I love my Mormons.
Okay. Well, whether it's Conor McGregor, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's Howard.
I'm Team Giselle on this one.
Oh, you're Team Giselle on this one. All right. Keeping us in check, right?
So remember, Tom Brady was teammates with Kyle Van Noy, very close with Kyle. They won Super Bowls, etc. And as I mentioned, Tom Brady's right-hand man, the TB12 model was essentially built by Alex Guerrero, who is also Latter-day Saint. He's he calls him a spiritual guide, counselor, pal, nutrition advisor, trainer, massage therapist, and family member. He's the godfather of Brady's younger son, Ben. He accompanies Brady to almost every Patriots home game. This was back when he was playing with the Patriots, and he continues to be very close to them. He works with Brady's personal chef. Anyway, there's a lot of different connectivity between Tom Brady and his Mormons, as he calls them. Love my Mormons, he said to Kyle Van Noy on social media. I don't know, this was years ago.
Oh, that's funny. So I got it up on the screen, a picture of him and Alex Guerrero together. So is there, whether it's Conor McGregor, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's Howard Hughes only letting Mormons touch his finances, or Elon Musk, whose right-hand man and CEO of all of his companies is my old home teacher. You know what I say? Yeah, seriously, he used to home teach me.
I didn't know that.
Oh, my entire childhood, I grew up with like Elon Musk's right-hand man. Yeah, it was kind of funny. He used to be a Merrill Lynch guy.
Do you remember? Like brother...
Oh, it's Birchall. It's Jared Birchall. This is all open source. Okay, yeah. You can look it up. And what's funny, phenomenal athlete. Very, very good athlete. He was one of those dudes that played church ball and it was like, oh, if he was on their team, like he was a good addition to any team, right? And by the way, super cool guy. Always was home teaching us. His wife, like, oh my gosh.
She was my young women's leader.
Yeah, like one of those like crazy women that has like home births. Like,
it's not crazy, it's cool.
Crazy.
Yeah, like
cool.
Like no epidural. Any woman that goes no epidural, just like, you have my respect. You know what I'm saying?
Very, very brave.
Yeah, and to do it voluntarily, like, holy smoke. So anyway, yeah, no, totally cool. They're my ward. I love them both. They're totally rad. Super fun. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of funny. Like back when Elon Musk was a nobody, he hitched his wagon with Elon, and now freaking Elon's like the richest guy in the world. So it's kind of funny.
So what you're saying is there.
So what's the common thread?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Is there something you've noticed that, like, boom, all these people that are big figures in society, we're still a small, niche faith in the grand scheme of things?
I discussed this with you. I've discussed it with you before. I think it's kind of a social commentary as it relates to Latter-day Saints. I would say there was a book I read, this was years ago, called The Triple Package, and essentially it discussed in depth the socioeconomic success within certain people, certain cultures within the United States of America. And there was like three elements or three characteristics of these people, right? And so they studied, they found, individuals like Jews, highly successful in the United States of America. Mormons also, there's certain tribes in Africa from certain peoples that do really well, and like from Nigeria, and I don't recall the specific tribes, but like certain Asian groups, etc. So why do they do well? And this book was written by a husband-wife duo, Yale scholars. They were teachers there, and I think Amy Chua is her name, and Jed Rubenfeld, I think. I'll have to fact check myself. Community note me, check it out. And anyway, the three characteristics were essentially these. Number one, you have to have a superiority complex, meaning you believe you're chosen by God, community, by by something, right? You're chosen, and you have a high standard that is put onto, that is put into your life, and you have to reach that every single day. High pressure to a certain extent, or just you feel like you're chosen, so you have to whom much is given, much is required. Number two, you have an inferiority complex, meaning you don't feel ever good enough. There's kind of like that void that constantly has to be filled with accomplishment, and even progress, like incremental progress, line upon line, and continuing to improve, just becoming your best self. But there's that constant, almost like, I'm never good enough, I got to keep on going. And then number three is impulse control. So the three characteristics of individuals or communities, people that have tremendous socioeconomic success in the United States of America has to do with those three traits, and all those people have those three traits. It's a great book. Check it out. It was very impactful to me because I kind of realized, even within myself, as I internalized it and really evaluated myself. I remember vividly growing up and thinking, I'm like, man, I'm not good enough. I got to keep going. I had this sense of urgency, but at the same time in my mind is like, I'm sitting here thinking like, I am I'm amazing, I'm the best, I'm blessed, and then I had to practice impulse control of any appetite, right? You talk about fasting, your capability of fasting, food, water, not indulging in premarital relations or, what have you, things that are distractions of the world, drinking, smoking, anything that could enslave you to things that don't have a really good return on investment in life. So anyway,
That's one way of putting it. So,
you know what I mean?
so when you give the talk to your son, you're like, well, son, this does not have a good return on investment in your
I'm
life.
telling you, bro, you remember I'd go work out at the BYU student gym because I didn't want to go on a date because I was like, I'm going to pay for somebody else's wife. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't want to risk that. Like the return on investment, the weights always gave back to me.
I thought you were saying that because you were a broke athlete, and back then they didn't pay athletes a lot of
I didn't
money.
want to spend $12 on somebody else's wife. I'd rather go work out at the gym.
$12? Oh man, bro, you got to be taking out a nicer date than $12.
Like the Costa Vida at Fat Cats, right? That was the place. It was close to the house. Anyway, the Love Shack. But I look at that and I see what I see is a tremendous amount of socioeconomic success right now. I mean, we've seen, I would say, over the last 20 years, individuals kind of rising, 20, 30 years, at least for me, right? As I've gotten into my adulthood, young adulthood, I've seen impactful Latter-day Saints in every single field, right? Trying to be their best selves and accomplish much. And then that I mean, how many Latter-day Saints are there now? Do we have is it 17 million? I don't know. I haven't checked the numbers recently.
Yeah, I know it passed 16 million.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so 17. Half of those are probably less active. They don't even think they're LDS. So then you got like let's say 8 million, and then I mean,
half of that half
how many
are probably
those,
going.
How many of those are in the United States? Let's say.
Yeah.
And so like you're talking about a minority of people in the United States, even especially in the United States, that is having a pretty big impact from a socioeconomic standpoint. And then they're rubbing shoulders with high level people, and those high level people enjoy being around them enough to engage in friendships, in business relationships, and then that many times that funnels back to BYU and the LDS community. And so as well as I do, Card. I mean, we've been friends for over like 20 years now. I think we met in 2005. Relationships are everything. And so.
Well, you did threaten me that if I didn't do your Spanish homework, that you would beat me up on the way home. I thought that I was like,
Yo no necesito ayuda con mi tarea de español. Eso no. Eso es mentira. I got all A's in my Spanish classes.
I'm totally kidding, dog.
Yeah. I'll go off on that. I still speak very con fluidez, amigo. Mi hermano.
That's funny. No, it was in Spanish class. You are correct, my man. Yeah. It was in Spanish class we met. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, so I think relationships are critical. And I think, look, Ryan Smith, I'll give you another example. Ryan Smith, owner, founder of Qualtrics, along with his father and brothers, now on the Jazz, right? And, they've been able to develop really strong, healthy relationships with the likes of Dwayne Wade, one of the greatest players to come through the National Basketball Association, in so much that, Dwayne, last time I checked, at least has an equity stake in the Utah Jazz organization. And the hairstylist of, I think that, I think his barber, if I remember correctly, is actually a female, or maybe stylist. Maybe that would be the proper word. I don't recall the details, but she's a Latter-day Saint that she got baptized. The owner of Stance Socks somehow became close personal friends with her. And, like I said, you just have like these tentacles, far reaching, individuals that are strong in their faith, love developing high level relationships with high level people. And they're finding, a like-minded connection and developing those relationships. So I think it's a really good thing. I mean, how many stigmas, how many false stigmas and inaccurate rhetoric swirls around social media and even the national media everywhere about Latter-day Saints and how unique, singular, weird, like, whatever, right? The stigmas are out there, and even though we're in 2025 with the information highway, and you have all access to knowledge, uh, most of our thoughts and opinions on a certain culture of people are based on what? Anecdotal experience with a person of that faith, correct? Wouldn't you say, like, we're a conglomerate of our anecdotes in our lives? So if we have a strong opinion about something, it's because we've rubbed shoulders, or we haven't rubbed shoulders maybe with a certain set of people.
Jacob Hansen brings up a good point with the Hansen 5 model of epistemology, that at the end of the day, all knowledge, even if it is directly learned from other people, comes from direct experience.
100%. And it's like the whole my truth movement. It's like, well, it's my truth. It's what I know. It's my experience. It's what I felt. So, going back to my numbers game, it's like, okay, half of the 17 million are less active, and how many of those are actually in the United States, and how many of them are interacting with people in their communities and have any impact in the community? That's the only thing that people know about Mormons, apart from, watching a Netflix documentary about Brigham Young and the Mountain Meadows massacre, right? And which is completely a fallacious, representation of everyone involved in that story. So that's what you're going off of. Then you have, I have a problem typically with like Mormon housewives and all this stuff. I'm like, goodness gracious, this is such like a small subset of.
Oh, they didn't invite you to the party, bro? You're like one of the best looking guys in Utah. I thought you would have been
it's just a small subset. So that's, they conclude that's how, all Mormon women are, or all Mormon men are, or what have you. And it's like, so if we're not engaging in our communities, I think that's why some of the brethren just want the saints to spread out everywhere, not just kind of aggregate, conglomerate here in Utah. You're like, no, get out there, like, go be normal and go make an impact and go serve the communities out there. And we're like, nah, man, we're going to Utah, and just be around a bunch of Mormons just like us, right? So anyway, those are just some thoughts I had about this whole situation, and I begin to go on tangents and discuss why this happens and how it happens. But I'm a fan of Conor McGregor. I love the entertainment value. I loved his striking ability in the octagon. I loved his confidence, his swagger. I don't have to agree with everything that he is and everything that he stands for to appreciate the talents that God gave Conor McGregor. Every one of us has made mistakes, and we all need grace in our lives. And I think he's gone through some struggles inside and outside the octagon. And I'm grateful that he has great relationships and synergistic friendships, business relationships with the likes of the Gardner brothers, because those are good men. They're good people, and they're doing good things, I think, in the community and around the country, and hopefully around the world for Bucked Up.
All right, dude. That's awesome. Before we go, I got to tell you, my favorite brand in Utah isn't Bucked Up, though I'm now convinced due to your strong representation. Mine is Royal Army. And the customers not the customers, hopefully the future customers can see on the screen, you got a super cool brand here of licensed BYU apparel. And I'm going to click on this one, guys. The t-shirts section is my favorite. My favorite thing you make, and I'm ready to go buy 5 more of these things, is a reverse tonal BYU Beat Digger t-shirt. The classic. And it's super affordable. Only 25 bones for a t-shirt nowadays. I don't sell my t-shirts that cheap, bro.
Yeah. We want to give, it's created by fans for fans. Kevin Wilson, Chris Berg, Jason Boyer, Kevin Berg, everyone, they're all fans. And we want to create a product that fans are proud of, and it's still very high quality. And we create conversational pieces. We feel like we have the best apparel in the business. We feel like everyone's always trying to, copy us, and try to imitate us, but never replicate us. And we feel really confident. And I think the fan base has really enjoyed our products over the last 7 years since we launched.
Okay, so I see the cool one where you got Brigham Young's face with his own BYU hat on there. Can you get one of Conor McGregor leading the chant? Is that one that you might be able to make
You know
pretty
what?
soon?
I've pinged my guys and see what we can do. You have to get approval. Anything that has a BYU logo on it must be approved by BYU, and so there's royalties involved in that, and that you have to pay back to BYU for utilizing that. And then we'd have to reach out also to Connor and get his approval to be able to use his face, and we'll see what those fees would be, and then you hope you can. You can sell a lot of them, right? And so you can make a living. There's like these pop culture, I would say, like, flashes in the pan, like, not everyone was there. Not all the BYU fans were there at that game. Not every BYU fan saw that, or even knows who Conor McGregor is. So you also have to kind of address, okay, is it worth it to print off 500 of these, or
so get on it, bro. Limited edition.
Hey, I like it.
Edition.
I think it's the best thing to do in this situation would just be to create something for Connor that has BYU in it, and it's his own custom thing. It's like his own custom pieces that he can rep, that's unique, that also reps the Y. So that's something we're definitely working on, because if he wants to rep the Y, man, he's got to rep Royal Army.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Well, he definitely reps the Y. In fact, I've got I'm going to stick it in my own Discord so the audience can see it here.
Yeah, he was repping that BYU hat, right, with the Nike swoosh on.
Dude, yeah. Well, did you hear him say "Go Cougs" 3 times in a row,
Cougs,
man?
Baby.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. 20 years too late. It should have happened when we were there. But anyway,
who was showing up to our games at the Mary Center in 05 to 08? I'm trying to think.
Like apostles, bro. It was like,
those were the, hey, and I love the apostles, and I love it when they show up. We need all the board of trustees coming down to check out BYU athletics. What you were saying, this modern era, something you said about, like, just people, Connor showing up, right? And do you remember, I don't know how much money was spent on some of these ad campaigns, but do you remember Meet the Mormons?
Yeah.
Totally.
The movie, Meet the Mormons. Do you remember I'm a Mormon campaign, and I'm a Mormon campaign?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was like huge for 5 years.
Yeah, I'm a Mormon campaign, right? I don't know. I would like to see kind of like how impactful that was. I don't know how impactful it was. Like, I was watching them. I didn't send them to like any of my friends, because I'm like, they already know I'm Mormon, right? So like me saying, hey, I'm normal. Remember me? I'm Ben, your Mormon friend. Like, remember how normal I am? Like, I think the whole like thesis, or the idea behind those ad campaigns was like, hey, we're normal. We're just like you. We're not weird, right? Like, how would you describe it? Like,
it was a humanizing and contextualizing
you're
thing.
Trying to humanize us. We're trying to normalize, humanize. Like, we're just like everybody else. We have our strengths, our weaknesses. We have our experiences of diversity, and we come from all different backgrounds, all different ethnicities, etc. Right? And so, like, once again, going back to the numbers game, like, if you're Latter-day Saints, by numbers, are a minority in this world and in the United States, and not many people rub shoulders. And we know that our aggregate conglomerate, like, truths that we have in our minds is due to our anecdotal experiences. And so like having Conor McGregor come in, or Dwayne Wade associate with Ryan Smith, and like anyone that has, a prominent voice in the world, is like, no, man, I love Tom Brady saying, I love my Mormons. Like, it's just it normalizes, it humanizes more so than an I'm a Mormon campaign, or more so than Meet the Mormons campaign. Does that make sense? I think it typically has a better, more impactful way of normalizing and humanizing culture, looking at the positive fruits of the faith, the people, than any of those proactive campaigns from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So that would be my final thought. In my opinion, that's a good thing. It's a really positive thing, and hopefully it opens up, more discussions and more conversations about, the fruits of the faith, maybe theology. Shoot, I just watched one of the most prominent atheists interact and completely destroy credo Christianity from a theological standpoint, and then find common ground with a Latter-day Saint on YouTube, like recently.
You talking about Alex O'Connor?
Yeah. They found common ground, and he's like, hey, and then there was another podcast in which Alex O'Connor, I think he hopped on, and he was asked the question, well, which if you had to wear a jersey, what form of Christianity, or what I guess what Christian team would you be a part of, or whatever?
Yeah, what did he say?
I mean, look, and we're gonna
Mormonism, of course.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Mormonism, of course. And he said it, tongue in cheek, he knew what he would get, because he probably knows, or he's become aware of how evangelical Christianity and traditional Christianity views Latter-day Saintdom and Mormonism. And so he's like, oh, gotcha. I know how to poke the bear. He knows how to poke the bear. But I love that we're having those conversations. Those are important conversations to have. And I think it really does. I think to me, it's validating to see the progress of. I think I talked about this last time. Most humans want to rely on their anecdotes and their confirmation bias in their lives, right? Because it simplifies everything and it keeps things in order. But those true seekers, those pure in heart seekers of truth, I hope, I pray that more people are like that in the modern era. Because I think the more that they seek that unadulterated, they have that truth-seeking mentality, they're going to have some great conversations with some great people, and they're going to come to truth and be like, wow, man, that Latter-day Saint faith is a good faith. Whether or not, they believe in it, they're like, man, they got a good community going there. They got a good culture there. That's good for the family. That's good for society. That's good for, our world, to have people like that. And that's what you hope. And so you hope we all live up to the faith that our fathers and mothers have cherished and have bestowed upon us through a birthright, right? So anyway, random thought.
No, it wasn't random. It was good, bro. It was good. His name is Ben Criddle. You can check him out on ESPN 960. The website is royalarmybrand.com. Best apparel in the business. I wear it myself. And if you guys want to check a little bit more out with us, you can purchase a War in Veteran Heaven hat at WardRadio.com. And as always, for this and more, please make sure you check us out at WardRadio.com.
This is gonna be the best day ever. This is gonna be the best day ever. Wake up, top of the morning. The bacon is crispy, the coffee is pouring. My meditation is peeling an orange. The bank says I'm already scoring. I got a parking spot right outside. Step into my brand new ride. All we ever get is green lights and blue skies. This is gonna be the best day